Well, hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Thank you for showing up to the thing that I asked everyone to show up to, which is our November live energy update. And I've coined this a magical month for a reason. And shorthand version, well, we start off with a new moon. We've got 11:11, we've got 11:22, and then we're going to move in to Mercury in retrograde, not gade, on the 25th. So, with that said, I'm thrilled to present the energy for this month. And of course, we've got our crystal of the month and we have our animal totem of the month. So, that's what we're going to be working with during this update. So, it's always a pleasure, of course, to interact with you guys here. And so, we will also do some questions in the end. So, first of all, I just want to just congratulate everyone. We just went through two major eclipses in the last 2 months. And they were pretty intense. And if you remember, we talked about the different cycles that one can, find themselves in, the ones that we really work towards. And now we can really look at November as the time to activate the full potential of all the work that we've done and really work with the energy of purpose. And so I have sort of coined November as this magical month for a reason. And part of it is this is going to be a month where it's way easier to connect to your intuition and to your higher guidance. And so that's what's going to be so special about it. And with that said, we're going to talk about energy portals today. We definitely are. I'm just going to adjust this for a second. As you guys know, I don't really get a preview what this looks like until I jump in. And I want to talk about the importance of flow this month and really seizing control. And let me tell you why. I woke up this morning feeling some pressure. I was like, this is November, it's your favorite month, this is your birth month, and you get to talk about your favorite thing, which is honestly 11:11. Okay, I can't help it. Starseed problems. So I felt this pressure to really do a good job. I've also been thinking about all the things I can't control. And that is going to be a theme with Mercury retrograde. So I was kind of hyping myself up, being like, oh man, I got to do all these things. And so I was cleaning with a Q-tip my eye, which eye was this one. And I managed to poke myself right in the blood vessel. So I think it's important that I point it out to you guys first, before someone else does in the comments. Just kidding. And once that happened, you guys, I just stopped. I went, okay, what are we going to do now? Are we going to spiral like maybe an old version of yourself? Or are you just going to have a really fun time and do this energy update and laugh it off? And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So this update will be brought to you by me and this punctured blood vessel here. Sorry. Alchemist told me to spiral. When I move into some sort of subscription service, you guys can just watch me spiral. I think it'll be fun for everyone. But until then, we're really just going to own this and really go for it too. So basically, we can't control something. Let's just flow and let's just laugh it off. We want perfection. We want to do a good job. And then sometimes you don't know if the blood vessel is going to turn your whole eye red as the hour progresses. So, with that said, let's talk about why I'm so hyped on this month. Underneath it all, let's remember we are in Scorpio season. We're going to focus on the depths of everything, right? So, this is really like the reminder to not do anything superficial this month. Scorpio, Sagittarius, we don't do anything superficial. We go into the depths of something, whether it's shadow work, whether it's your spiritual practice, or what you want to do in terms of your expansion goals. Once we hit Sag season, really go deep and focus into everything that you want to focus on. Okay. So I mentioned earlier, I'm calling this November magical month. What's going to make it magical is that it's just going to be easier to connect with your gifts in November, right? So we're going to thank those upcoming portals, but let's begin with a motto that I want to present for November. And it's this: things will work out better for me than I think. So write this down somewhere. Really think about it. We're going to come back to this when we talk about the animal totem, but just things will work out better for me than I think. Really feel into this. Have that type of attitude. I've been just tapping in collectively as I prepared for this update, seeing that a lot of us are in major transitions for the positive, whether it's a new career, direction, opportunity, whether you're just going to show up more for yourself. Really see this through this month, right? So think, what do I need to make this happen? Where am I stalling? Where am I self-sabotaging? So we're going to think about this now. We're watching this on a Sunday. We're not quite in November yet, but think about this. Why? This is where magical month is going to kick off. So, November 1st, we are starting off with a new moon, okay? This is big energy. You're going to probably feel very energized on November 1st. So, ride this through the first wave because this, like, the first week. Maybe that was a little of a slip there, first wave. Maybe I'm just talking to first wavers with this next part that I'm going to get into. November is a month of activations, okay? Really think about it. You're going to wake up November 1st, activated energy. So, before we move into the rest of those key dates, I think that there's something on November 5th happening here in the States. Not too worried about it. Deprogrammed myself from the system a long time ago. We're not going to waste any time talking about that, okay? We're going to jump right into 1111. 1111 portal up into the 1122 gateway, okay? Big energy, big numerology. So we know with the number 11, we know with the number 22 and 33. These are all the master numbers in numerology, okay? These vibrate so high. These are our activation numbers. Now, when all these numbers align in a short amount of time, well, what that's going to do is create that cosmic portal, that higher vibrational opening where you can connect even deeper with source, with your own guidance system. That's why this time is so important. And so all of this is going to enhance your intuition, your trust with yourself. But this happens if you engage with the energy of that month, of the time, really. 11 is a number that brings spiritual awareness. It's a very abundant number. It represents synchronicity. In fact, if you see, the 1111 sequence, we're going to talk about this in all its forms, but it is a high synchronistic number. So it's kind of like when you see this number, the universe is saying, hey, I want to talk to you. I want to interact with you. You see the number, you're answering the call. That's why this is so important to think about this number. The universe will also communicate to you signs about purpose and just the things that you want to get going for yourself. So on 1111, we want to think of seeing 1111 in itself as the number that just awakens humanity. That's what it does. It's a reminder to pay attention to your inner wisdom, your inner truth, who we are, why are we here in the universe, but also our emotional well-being. It helps us in all these different areas too. Now, with number 22, that's going to connect us to the higher realms, and it also connects us to our higher purpose. Purpose it can be very elusive. So sometimes people will book an energy healing session and they're like, Susan, could you just ask my higher self what my purpose is? Of course, I can't do that. That defeats the whole, let's say, point or purpose of being here. Now, I can do a clearing that's going to help activate your will. We can do some soul retrievals. We can get you aligned so that you go on your hero's journey and discover that purpose. Well, November is a month of going on that hero's journey. So if we want to combine everything into a cheat sheet here, think of November, we think of magic, we think of intuition, synchronicity, hero's journey. Now, the animal totem will support that. And of course, so will the crystal of the month. But these are the big themes we're working with here. So, the other thing about this too, when we see 1122, so whether you see that on the clock or the day of 1122, this is more about being on a mission here. So, starseeds talking to you, 1122, that date, this is about really bringing that higher spiritual purpose and truth to serve humanity. So with 1111, it's so open, it's a massive high energetic portal. This is about, receiving that information, connecting directly with source. Now we go to 1122 and we go, okay, how can I use this to serve? How can I use this to better humanity? So you see what's going on within that time period. 1122, that date, that's a reminder to elevate the human experience. You know why this is so important? We have 11/5 election day having, people tell you this is your reality. This is the human experience. Be in fear, think this, think separation. Or we can focus on 1122 and 1111 that says, no, we're here to elevate the human experience, to awaken out of these systems that are only here to oppress us. And whether you like the color red or blue, well, they're both parasitic arms of the same thing. So this is why this energy update, this is for the first wavers. This is for the star seeds. And really, if you don't identify with that information, still for you because you're watching it. The whole point of this and the whole point of November energy is to awaken to the higher truth of who you are and the energy of the month. Because when you guys see 1111, you know what that really means? Wake up out of the movie. You over identified with the movie. So use this energy to think of, okay, where else am I over identifying with the story that doesn't work anymore? That's the power of this month. So I hope this all resonates for you guys because this is some big energy. This is asking you to step up and really work with this. Okay. Master numbers we see, they're about stepping up in life. Now, when we see 33, that's about the embodiment of that energy. We know 33 is the Christed number. We know all about that energy, right? Well, if not, I will break it down in another numerology talk. But I really want you guys to embrace numerology this month. It's going to get you very far. You can look into what your life path number is. That's going to help you. I'm a 2 in that. So that, it actually a lot of energy healers are number 2. So kind of look into it and see, because that's going to help you, which is kind of like identifying what you want to look into for the rest of the month here as well. So you're seeing the powerful sequences from 1111 to 1122. Now, like I said, when we have this much cosmic energy aligning at once, that's what creates the energy portal. Okay. So you might already be connecting with this energy. These portals kind of like we already kind of connect to it. So, for example, November 1st, new moon energy. Yeah, that's already coming in here, right? On 1111, we have access to this portal. And what you want to do is really whatever you feel called to do that day, what feels good in your heart. Going outside, receiving light codes. I always encourage that when we are working with energetic portals. But this is about tapping into that primordial creator energy. That's what we've got available to us on 1111. Wake up, embodying that. It's a lot to ask if you think about it, because it's saying wake up confident, right? Embody who you are, that you can really create what comes next for you. So think about how you want to work with that energy. Exciting times. I think it's exciting because there's an immense amount of creative energy that also kind of floods into the planet on that day. So, when you see the number 1111 on a clock, or we're here on the date, I want you to remember its simplest form is whatever we are awakening to, whether it's someone's first time seeing that number. Now they're going through a massive awakening. Or if you see it often, it just means awaken deeper, go deeper. There's more to the story. There always is, right? There's always more to the story. That's what this energy is telling you, right? So remember, this number may tell us, hey, you've over identified with this. You got to move on from something. Just pay attention to what you are thinking about. Anytime you see a sequence of numbers, I often see 1, 2, 3. I associate that with my higher self. That's a big number here, too. I noticed you guys mentioning, yes, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. Obviously, this is showing up in a lot of the big shifts that are coming up here. We're leaving a lot of things, and we're moving into those next big cycles. And this is also supporting what is going to be happening. What's continuing to happen with the Chiron in retrograde. I'm not going to go too much into the other retrogrades. We want to talk about 1111 and 1122. And then I am going to touch on Mercury in retrograde in this update. So, with everything that's going on, in astrology, everything that we've come out of with the last couple of eclipses here, we've shaken out a lot of debris. That's what you want to pay attention to, too. And that's what's going on with what Capricorn with Pluto, retrograde is happening too. Oh man, all the systems changing, systems collapsing. That's what this Pluto energy is talking about here. And it's collapsing for the better. So we just want to be confident, and we want to use our creator energy on 1111 and 1122 to call in healing, to call in the highest possible timeline for ourselves, right? And for humanity. So remember, when you see 1122, this is going to activate more of that sense of mission, creative purpose, and really embodying that energy. We already know this is a time of synchronicity. So seeing 1111, 1122, that's going to tell you that you guys are on the right path. You want to really pay attention to that, or whatever the magic of the universe, whatever it's trying to show you. It can come in the form of a friendship, from something that comes up between you and a healer, you're going to have a lot of communication with guidance in November. So call on your higher guidance and really like trust the feeling that you get in your body. Okay. Let that really guide you because clarity is going to be coming this month. That's what you want to also focus on. Okay. So 11/11 now, big day for manifestation. Be very clear on what you want to create. So be very specific. So, for example, it's already an abundant day. We know that 11 vibrates abundance, but be specific on the type of abundance you are calling in. Do I want an abundance of health? Do I want a fully healed nervous system? Do I want cash? Like whatever you want. Be very specific and intentional. You want to pay attention to your thoughts all of November. Everything can be magnified. So just be aware of that. Be clear, be intentional. Really work with the magic of that day. You just want those super clear intentions for health, for love, whatever you want to create for that to be amplified. 11/11 and 11/22, very easy days to receive those light codes, that information. So you can get outside, meditate, just sit in stillness. Those are great ways to sort of receive this and just integrate it. So if you're like, hey, I'm not getting that breakthrough on that actual date, no, you're starting the process. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll get that clear answer in your meditation. But the point is, allow the integration, allow for the process up until Sagittarius season 2. So basically, I want you to really trust your guidance on what to do on both these days. Now, on the 22nd, that's a day you want to embrace your talents. Like you just really want to feel into it. You want to embrace it. You want to own it. And you want to be really comfortable with being seen for those gifts and abilities. It's going to be way easier to connect on those days. So reflect on life purpose. You don't, I know there's going to be retrograde 3 days after that. So I'm not like telling you, you got to go do something quick between those times, but like get clear, reflect on purpose, see how you want to be seen, because stepping into divine purpose is going to be a theme for the next year. So many of us are going to be called to serve in so many ways. So think of what that means to you. It's not always going to look the same for everybody. I want you to know that you're going to be energetically supported in that. And remember, light work is very different for people. So whether you're a caregiver or you're just like kind to someone, that's a form of light work. So this is a time for that. But also remember, like so much embodiment of what you desire, what your truth is. It's going to be a really powerful time for people to embrace the things that they care about and embrace their inspiration. Now, when I talk about 11/22, that is a gateway. Why do I call it that? Well, this means that the spiritual world and the physical world actually are in such harmony. So, this is a day for clear messages from your higher guidance. That's what you want to look for. Okay. So, this is the day to meet with your higher self, call in higher self, see what kind of messages you'll get. That's why it's something that like every month, there's different themes. Let me put it this way for a November energy update. We can't ignore how important it is when we tell ourselves, oh, I'm not getting those clear messages. Why am I not being communicated with? Well, you're not engaging. So that's what you really want to focus on, okay? The clear messages, asking your higher self for those things. So connection to source, clear intuition, awareness, just that deep call to go discover how to serve humanity. That's what's coming up. So we talked about 11/11. We talked about 11/22. Let's talk about November 25th, Mercury in retrograde. The theme, just be flexible, okay? You just want to be very, very flexible, okay? See where you need to invest your time and energy with people. Flow, playfulness, right? Just take a step back, process what you need to process before saying yes to anything, committing. We just need space, to process. And, especially if you're a fire sign and it's always like go, go, go for you. Well, we're not going to do that during this retrograde. We're going to practice the flow and seizing control, or else you might just like poke yourself in the eye and then just reset your day and go from there. Okay. So the mantra for this retrograde. Now, in August, we talked about just no fear, right? No fear is always going to be the mantra, especially in this year, but also ease, trust, and flow. Okay. That is the mantra from now until when we're out of this retrograde, which I believe is on December 15th. Okay. So ease, trust, and flow. Just also let that be what keeps you just patient and calm as, say, you're like connecting with family on the holidays, whatever you do, since this is kind of starting right before Thanksgiving and people do all their like little get togethers and stuff. Just be in that space. Plans will change. Be flexible. Things will drop at the last minute. Okay, just relax. Ease the pressure. Just like do your best. See where it gets you. That's really what's going on because this stuff is like really creating within us this. I want to call it like just much more thicker skin, right? A stronger backbone for all the different things we need to process. This is a time for really like processing. Try not to get distracted by you guys in the chat today. We got a lot to talk about. This really is the time for processing the wounding that Chiron is bringing within us. So, what we want to do in November is say, okay, I've got my guidance, I've got my trust system. I'm going to continue to process this, and I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be supported. That's the energy you want to go into 2025 with. Okay, so. The other big thing before we get into the crystal of the month, we're going to get into that a little bit sooner because it's going to really help with the mental plane. That's what we're going to talk about in a minute. So basically, the other thing I want to point attention to is it's okay, guys. I still love you. Having an astrology chat here in the comments here. So let's go into inspiration. This is what we want to talk about. Awakening inspiration for yourself this month. See your life as living art. Cultivate from that space. So if you guys feel like that well of inspiration and motivation feels a little dry, November's the month to reconnect and let it feel like it's overflowing again. So just think of like how you can create more beauty for yourself this month. Really cultivate this in November. What does living art mean to you? Where's that beauty going to even show up for you? Think about those things. Those will get you really far. Like find your inspiration and really build. Or maybe you just need to like reshuffle the deck and take a completely new direction into something, right? So, many of us can kind of pinpoint where we feel there's that drop of inspiration and motivation. And so, like I said, November, it's going to connect. Maybe that's what you do on 11/11. And maybe that's linked to your higher divine purpose on 11/22. That's why all these themes work so well together. We're really going to go into the depths of what that means with Scorpio season. Then, of course, on the 22nd, we're going to go into the expanded version of that with the auspicious abundance and luck that Sagittarius and Jupiter will be bringing us. So, I think that's a good time for me to get a sip of my water. 1 second here. Oh, it's just my Sagittarius mug. Yeah. Thank you. I see you guys are doing, yes, writing poetry and journaling. Great stuff to be doing in November. Even better to do an 11/11 and 11/22, right? So as you can see, time to flex the mug. It's exactly time to flex the mug. I put a lot of thought into this. And so I could obviously go into all the goodness of Sagittarius season. I'm going to do that more so in December. We talked about Mercury in retrograde. So I can't recall the last time Mercury was, that's a hard word for me to say, was in retrograde during my birthday. This will be a very interesting time for me. I'm excited to see what the universe is going to bring my way, celebrating during that type of period. And with that said, I would say if there's one thing we want to take from Sagittarius season is to really focus on the goals and how we're going to get there. And we, of course, are going to do that with the trust, flow, and ease that we want to let be our mantra during that time period. So I talked about the mental plane, and this is the time to introduce the crystal of the month. Are you guys ready? Now, I know that some of you guys guess. I'm going to show you a couple of things here. We're going to start with this piece. So, who guessed the crystal of the month? This is fluorite. I'm going to show you a variety of fluorites here. So here we have the, the tricolor, which serves a very important purpose. Now we've got green fluorite. So let's take a moment to connect to that green fluorite here. And then I do want to hone in on some purple fluorite. So here we go. So this is my purple Ganesha. I'm going to talk about Ganesha consciousness in a minute. Well, actually, we can't talk about it now. We know that Ganesha is the remover of all obstacles. So if you want more support, connect with his consciousness. It's going to get you very far. Might be a good time, even in November, to work with that. And then I'm going to show you one more Ganesha. Love Ganesha. So here we have a lighter color combination, okay? So we've got our connection with the remover of obstacles, which fluoride also is going to support as well. And the next thing that I want to focus on too is like with this piece. So you might find them more like this. This means that it was actually closer to the sediment when it was excavated. And whatever combination you want to go for, just know that if you go for the one that's got the 3-color combination, this is total auric field support, total cleansing of the energy field. You're going to get the best of all the worlds here. Now, if you're going to go with the green fluorite, think purification. Okay, people like to have this around the springtime. Yes, I love that what you said, Irma, all around the house. A lot of people like to grid in the spring with green around the house. It's welcoming that new season. Obviously, green is also going to support the heart center. And if we focus on the purple one, this is third eye support. So that's what you want to look for. So see what you need. Where do you need more support from fluoride energy? Or maybe you need that full combination here. So to summarize in one sentence why this is so important and why it's the crystal of the month, order out of chaos. Okay? That's what this little guy's going to do. Could you believe that? Order out of all that chaos we experience. Wouldn't that support type of month we're in? I think an order out of chaos crystal is a perfect crystal of the month for, an election year maybe. Who knows? I don't know the crystal of the month until it was channeled. And I want to say something very interesting. I may have said this before in one of these updates. So during that total solar eclipse, I just went into my full kind of psychic channel and I was given from my higher self every crystal of the month up until November. I don't know the December one yet. I don't know why my higher self said, no, we're going to give you that one later. So fluorite's the last one that I received. Makes perfect sense. So this is a stone of discernment, aptitude, complete mental clarity, concentration, but it also supports intuition. We love that. This is going to balance the right hemisphere with the left hemisphere. It's a stone that helps us see beyond illusions. Oh, wouldn't this be the perfect time to see beyond illusions? I think you guys are picking up what I'm putting down already. I think so. It's very stabilizing too. It also helps us connect to those universal energies and see the divine perfection of the universe. That's also reflected within all of us. That order is going to come naturally out of this chaos. This order is really innate within us. This crystal will bring you the things that will create the order. That's why you want to work with it. And so I just wanted a Ganesha to work with. That's what I knew. And I only found it in fluorite and it ended up being perfect for me. And so it just very much has connected with the themes of this month. So whether, you're getting a certain stone or an animal totem, which we're going to talk about later, or it's a consciousness as powerful and important and expansive as Ganesha, really go with what you think is going to support you the most through this time, not just through November and all the magic that we can connect with too, but for the rest of the year. I don't always bring out my personal stuff that I grid with, but I really wanted to showcase the variety of fluorite. I already just kind of had this, and it's just so important. It's so potent and powerful. Like I said, this is also going to connect to intuition, but this does represent higher intellect, emotional well-being. The green will be for your purification, for your detoxing. It does help us release the things that gnaw at us. Okay, so in ancient China, fluorite was known as wormstone because it was actually used to eliminate parasites. So there's a functional purification thing, but then it also represents like the inner demons, the inner parasites, the thoughts, the things that gnaw at you, right? The stuff that can affect us on the mental plane. Well, this is the stone to help clear and release that. So That's what you're looking for. If you're looking for that kind of peace, that's what fluorite is going to do. It's for all the psychological demons, right? It's probably going to apply if we go up the scale. And if we talk in terms of as above, so below, and the miasms, yeah, it's going to go to the psychic, the energetic parasites as well. So it's that kind of protection and connection on all levels. Gotta love it, right? Now, if you are detoxing and you need support, you will place it like on your hands and feet, and it clears energy, just it directs it out of the physical body. So you can use it that way. Like I said in my last energy update, I'm not going to go into like the like actual like consuming crystals and tonics and stuff like that. So remember, I'm not telling you to consume anything. But what you can do, hold it in your palms, direct energy. If you're using a point, direct energy outside of you. That's how you want to do it, a way to cleanse. So let's recap. Mental enhancement and clarity. That's what's going here. That's what you really want to do. You want to get into that space to bring in the enhancement, the high thinking, the making quick choices. This is the stone for decision making. That's basically it. We use this for a lot of different ways. Like there can be gridding, right, for energetic protection. Well, fluorite is known as like an energetic vacuum. That's what you want to do. You really want to just like use this to purge, vacuum out the old thoughts, the old belief systems, the things that are collapsing. Let's bring it back to Pluto since you guys wanted to talk about Pluto. The things that want to collapse, that are outdated, that is what fluorite will do. It will clear that out of you. It clears confusion, cluttered thoughts, any negativity, like in the astral, anything like that in your environment. That's why you want to connect with it. In the tarot, it is related to the swords. Think of it as like a sword. I'm going to use the sword looking one, intelligence. It's about that sharpness, like cutting through things. That's what's really cool about this. Think about like when there's uncertainty. You have a sword that's just going to cut through that and remind you of your power, remind you of your intellect and the power of your choices. That's why this crystal is just really cool. So sword energy, who doesn't love that? This is about making those quick decisions with confidence. Now, I mentioned earlier, you want to go with a multicolored piece for just overall energy cleansing, repair of the auric field, cleansing that. Fluorite harmonizes very well with black tourmaline. Remember black tourmaline, October's crystal of the month? Power these up together. See what happens. It also will support clearing negative energy with smoky quartz and obsidian. So, like, isn't this a great stone? Did you guys know all this about fluorite? It's not just stunning. It looking at it makes me feel more clear. That's why I love this crystal. So let me take another sip of my Sagittarius juice. Get so excited talking about crystals. I just like get dehydrated. Okay, if you want higher mental abilities and strengths and you want to channel, pair this with lapis. You guys remember lapis? I think that was my June crystal of the month. Oh yeah, combine those together. If you want help healing your heart or opening your heart, pair it with emerald, pair it with kunzite. It pairs great with any calcite. So any calcite you have, blue calcite was our April crystal of the month, right? So that's what you can work with this to enhance that. It'll bring you more calm. Calcites really do bring more calm. So work with it that way. Because what do we want? We want to make decisions. We want to be clear, but we also want to make these decisions from a calm place. That's what it will do for you. I mentioned the heart work, right? So what about creativity? So artists, if you've got all these creative ideas, but like you can't get them out, or maybe you have writer's block, this fluorite will support you with that. So think of sword energy. It's just going to cut through a lot of clutter for you, but then it also stimulates those creative areas in life. It really also represents like heart-mind cohesion in all areas of life. So if you want to think of like, what will this stone activate for me? Think of the crown and think of the heart center. Works beautiful. So we've got mental clarity, but we've got that open heart center. You know, when somebody is clear and they're creative and their heart's open. This kind of sounds like someone who is really aligned to working and finding their purpose. You know, the thing I said you want to focus on 1122. So there you go. That's how these things really align together. Now, why energy healers? Why we love fluorite? These are like my friends. I'm like, which one wants to be held as I talk to you? Fluorite helps shift the etheric blueprint underneath anything physical. That's how I work when I'm working with any theme. So if it's like a physical issue, we want to shift the etheric blueprint to help the client heal. That's why this stone is so, so important. So it helps us also access like the highest layers of the energy field, like more light coming into the field. This is a stone for energy healers, like I said, for light workers, because it also helps attune to higher guidance in meditations. So I said, okay, 11/11, maybe that's the day you want to go into a big meditation. Maybe you want to do that on the first. Maybe you want to bring in the new moon this way, or maybe you do that on 11/22. Either way, this will attune to the higher guidance. It'll also help with the clarity of messages received from your higher self or whatever guides that you call in. So if you're, more of a forest witch like me and you go into the woods and you just want to walk around or you want to forest bathe and you want to take in the energy and talk to the trees, get some fluorite. Bring that with you. It's going to help you understand the messages that you're getting. That's why it's so exciting. So, are we good on fluorite, you guys? And I hope you have some questions for me in the end. We're making great time getting through this material because I really want to talk about the animal totem. So, I don't know if you guys are going to guess it. Last time, Irma, you were very close. I mean, you basically said it within the opening minutes of the update here. So let me tell you what. I usually get the animal totem like as weeks before. I wasn't getting it. And I was like, okay, higher self. And there are the things I want to talk about. I love animal energy. I love talking about it all day. Nothing was coming in. I was like, oh, maybe we don't need an animal totem. Then a couple days ago, clear as day, my higher self said November's animal totem is the Panther. Let's sit with that for a moment. November, Panther energy. So let's talk about why. Well, before I did some research into this, I said, what does the Panther represent? What does it really mean? And I think about how mysterious they are and how they can move and camouflage, move into the night, but they're so graceful and they're stealth and they're powerful. And that's exactly what Panther energy represents. Okay. It's said that people who are drawn to panthers, maybe that's already your animal totem. You actually were born into this life psychic. Yep. Psychic. You're very connected. It represents clairaudience. Panthers have amazing hearing. So this is another thing. We talked about clairaudience with the bats last month. Oh yeah. Same thing. What's really cool, which is I know now why higher self brought Panther, is that so each animal totem has a cycle of power. It could be a time of the year, time of the day. Well, the cycle of power for the for the Panther is the new moon. See, that's why I mixed all those words together. So think about this. We start November 1st on a new moon, and that cycle of power is the Panther's cycle of power. So think about the most graceful, powerful Panther walking you into November on November 1st. The Panther energy is a guide. It's going to help you through your darkest hour. That's why it's so important. So what confidence can you pull, right? We're walking in Panther consciousness, Panther energy. I think that's pretty cool. It also represents just that feeling fierce, valor, that bravery, deep, deep confidence. It's about multitasking. It's about being adaptable. And you know what? It's about your will, deciding that something is your will and just going for it. That's why it is so powerful. I really like this comment. I want to point it out. Alchemist said, Panther walks in the void. Absolutely. The Panther walks in the void. Really feel into that. So the cycle of power is the nighttime for the Panther. It makes perfect sense. Also, it's associated with the feminine energy, also associated with the void. So absolutely. Like, can you guys feel this? Can you feel the power of this energy? I'm getting really hyped talking about this. Okay. very interesting. They're solitary, but they work well with others. They're introverts, okay? We have an introvert animal totem this month. They're just so comfortable. And you know what else this does? Like Panther energy represents just deciding something and doing it. And that's also what fluorite does. So I love this. I don't know what higher self is bringing me for this update. Then I find out the crystal of the month supports the exact animal totem. That is trust in the divine, my friends. And that's also just trust in the power of this. And so what's really cool about the Panther is like it's got this enchanting beauty, right? But then it's smart. It can be very graceful, but then it can freeze when it needs to. So this is about how it shows up in the world, and see how you show up in the world too. And a really important thing about this too is like their greatest power, they say about Panthers, is like they move in silence when they pursue their goals, right? Because sometimes like saying too much, that can like reduce the effectiveness, of those goals. You know, when they say move in silence, or I don't want to talk too much. I don't want to bring all this outside energy into the execution of my goals. I don't want it to affect it. That's what Panther energy represents. So see about like purpose and the things that you're building here. And I do want to point this out. Yes, this is also very supportive of Scorpio energy. And absolutely, Irma, when I was doing the research, Jaguar was also coming up with this too. And so absolutely so important here. So I'm focusing, more so on the energy of like a Black Panther, but Jaguar came up. And what we know about Jaguar is actually too, it's said in what I was researching too with this is like they're even more fierce. Everything that I just said, Jaguar is that times 10. So it's like really cool here too. And so a couple more things here with this energy. With the Panther, they're sprinters. They're not long distance animals or runners. Okay. So think about your goals and your plans. Do you burn out? Like I am a sprinter. Okay. Like that's the way I work. I go and I get it done. So this is about pacing yourself, right? Getting your work done, but you need room to play. Okay. Think about what that will mean for like the execution here too. I love what you guys are saying with like Panthers here and like your dreams. Oh, yeah. Massive protector. What this also is going to teach us is to not push too hard in any one thing. Well, I talked about responding well to like pressure. The Panther represents responding well to deadlines in life, but also pressure. And where does this fit in? Embody Panther energy during this retrograde. That's where it's going to support you. So, this is an animal that symbolizes the depths and like being able to walk through the darkness. And we're going to talk about why that was so important with Scorpio season. But with that said, look at all these things that Panther does, right? It's stealth, but it knows when to respond, it knows when to make decisions. I wanted to share this fact just because I want to share it. It said that female Panthers like to be left alone after mating. Just going to put that out there. They don't stay too long with their partners. They care more about being the mother and like raising their young alone. They're so protective. And like that's where they like to assert their dominance, being like, nope, I'm going to take care of them. So what a powerful, just kind of like mothering, dominant, like fierce energy. You know where that's going to show up? That's going to show up in mothering your inner child. Yeah. Mother it like a fierce panther. Okay. That's my advice with Panther consciousness. So working with this totem. So call it into your meditations. Maybe they'll show up even more in dreams. What that's going to do is enhance your psychic vision and your inner knowing. This is my water break. Oh. God, I'm so thirsty. Talk about Panthers. Really excites me. I mentioned earlier, if this is already something you connect with, you are likely born psychic. There's different points we will put the veil on. It could be through some sort of trauma or just, when we're just programmed. Usually by age 7 or 8, we kind of take on our family's worldview. That psychicness kind of takes a back seat. Sometimes the veil never fully goes back on. Well, November is about seeing through those veils, seeing through illusions. Panther energy is all about that. It's also about trusting your inner vision. What did I say about November? This is about like your trust, your intuition, all the things that you want to cultivate, absolutely the time to do that too. I mentioned their clairaudience, but they have very sensitive skin. So this is also a good totem for empaths and like our sensitivity and what we read and what we take on as well. Here was one of my favorite things I learned about Panthers as I prepared for this. In times of darkness, this is when the Panther finds its greatest power. So, if we just want to summarize what is Panther, connecting to our true power, but this comes in the void when we feel like we're in the void. Okay. Its power cycle is also in the winter. Obviously, we're still in the fall, but we're kind of moving into that cycle. What I love is that this represents the feminine power and energy in every cycle. Okay, so it can also represent, some say, the dark mother, the dark side of the moon. It's life and it's the power of the night, death and rebirth, but not being afraid of any of those things and not being afraid of the night. And when we talk about all ranges of the feminine, think about all the different archetypes, right? The child, the virgin, the mother, the crone, the seeress, like all of this is Panther energy here. And when I talked about this being like finding its greatest power in darkness and the void, I want to use an example. So there's this band I love. They're called the Kills, not the Killers. People confuse them. Lead singer is a Sag. She's fabulous. She's got this song, and I believe it's called "She's Damned If You Do," something like that. The chorus, the main lyric in the chorus is, "She come alive when she on her last legs." The whole song is about now when she's on her last legs, when she's on her last breath, on her deathbed. That's when she comes alive. Think of Panther energy like this. When it feels so dark and dense in life, that's when you find that spark and come alive. That's what Panther energy will do for you. So if you need to connect to this, I would print out a picture of a panther, keep this on an altar, just keep it somewhere you can see it. You can get a stuffed animal, a figurine, like be reminded of that. Your subconscious is going to know exactly what to do with this energy. First, it's going to know because you're listening to this, you're taking it in, but you're connecting to the magic and power of the animal totem here. Okay. So she comes alive when she's on her last legs. Panther energy helps us dig deep and go, I'm going to keep going. And that's what you want to do. You want to keep going. What's also important about Panther energy, guys, it helps us understand like the dark and death by like acknowledging, what those fears are. And once we just acknowledge that, they have no power over us. Okay. So this is where you want to pay attention to Scorpio season and the Panther. This is about shadow work. When we look at that inner darkness, when we go look at the subconscious, whatever you're doing, this energy supports you transmuting any fears, anything that might be in the shadow. Maybe it's fears of, like I just mentioned, the dark, death, but whatever you excavate, like you're going to be able to do it just fine, not just because of November energy, Scorpio season, but you've got this epic Panther walking alongside of you. Doesn't that feel good? And the other thing about Panther energy is that it represents passion. It helps us like connect to that fire, the passion of life, the things that we may have blocked out because we were afraid to go after them and connect to that inspiration. Panther energy says, here's a flame. Go after it, reconnect to passion. And what's really interesting is when I was doing research, it said that like the symbol of the panther is actually connected to both Jesus and Dionysus. I was like, oh, wow, that's really interesting. Why? It's about resurrection energy, rebirth after death. And it's about that saying that says, like, okay, we are gods and goddesses in the making. Everything that we are building and awakening to, that's what Panther energy is. Like, it really is a connection to the divine spark within us and to embodying that power and that creator energy, which is actually what we have access to on 11/11, on 11/22. Do you see how this all connects very beautifully? We're saying we're not going to go into fear the first week of the month. We're going to be energized by this new cycle. We're going to embody the power of this, but also the power of rebirth. Now, the bat totem of October had a lot to do with that, remember? Well, this is like the next level of it. It's almost like I don't know how to say this, like it's more mystical. It's more spiritual. It's an embodiment. It's a confidence. It's a number 33. I'll just put that. That's what it's vibrating. Okay, so Other big thing I want to talk about before we go into questions here. I know I went really deep into Panther energy because it's so important to connect with this energy. Is that what's really cool about this is that it is a reminder of the hero's journey that we are all in. Seeing a Panther means you are awakening to your hero's journey, or you're finally going to make that turn. You're finally, if you've been stuck, Panther energy says, okay, now we turn the corner. Now we go into what needs to be resolved. Okay. What this means when you see a Panther, if a Panther enters your dreams, it means this issue that you have struggled with will finally be resolved. Feel that. Feel this into your body. I want us to like really interact with this energy. How good does that feel when something is finally resolved? That's what Panther energy, Panther consciousness will bring. Oh, doesn't that sound like the remover of obstacles? Ganesha energy? Yeah, it does. Oh, well, that's good. Another way we're syncing up in this update. So the Panther is the guardian through our struggles, through the void, through any darkness. What it represents too is that like those wounds we've been working with for forever, in this incarnation, or talk about the Chiron retrograde that's we're going to come out of, core wounds. What this means is you're going to heal and you're going to reclaim the power that was lost in the wounding, because Panther energy is reclaiming power. So that's another thing you really just want to let that land right there. That's some big stuff we're working through. This is November's animal totem. I recommend working with it past November if this is where your work is. For a lot of star seeds, light workers, etc., this really is where our work is. Reclaiming the things that were lost in the wounding, rebirthing ourselves, coming out the other side of it. Yeah, there's been a lot of mic drops in the last 5 minutes, haven't there? We're going to keep going. Just a few more things, and I want to go into your questions here. So, it also represents, remember, in the darkest hours of life, you will be led back into the light. So it's hopeful. It's an optimistic energy. Optimism, Sag season, all of it looks like it's aligning, doesn't it? And a few more things I want to mention. So in Native American traditions, it's associated with magic and power together, super mystical animal totem in so many different cultures. And what's so important about the feminine energy is that it reminds us that nothing can exist without the feminine. It is a complete reverence for the void, for the feminine energy, and for that power. It is total respect, divine feminine energy. And that's what we need more of in this dimension, right? And if you want just a few more ways to remember this, the strength of it, that saying like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger? That's Panther energy. That's totally it. It's the rebirth, it's the resurrection, it's getting through the darkest hour. But also, the big thing with Panther energy, what it represents is go beyond what you've imagined. Just go beyond what you've imagined and what you think. And let's tie this back. What did I say the mantra for November is? Things will work out better for me than I think, maybe than you ever expected. You see how it all ties together? Panther energy, go beyond those limits, anything that we've put on ourselves. And remember that in November, things will work out better for me than I think. Why? It's a magical month. We're starting off with our new moon. We've got 11/11, 11/22. We're just going to flow and trust through this retrograde. That's a lot of exciting things coming through in November. So that is my November energy update. I hope it resonates with you guys. I hope you're feeling inspired. I hope you can connect with that Panther consciousness. I hope you feel supported by that crystal of the month. So I want to take some time now to answer your guys' questions. What do you think? You guys got any questions about anything, about the crystals, about Panther energy? Who's hyped on Panthers? I am going to print out a Panther picture and keep it here on my desk. That's how hyped I am. I see one of, yeah, trust the shadow for sure. I really like what you guys are saying here about Panthers. I'm so happy that it's resonating with so many of you too. And like I said, didn't really expect that to be the totem. Here we are. So I'll give you guys a minute if you have any questions that you want to type in here, but I think we're all pretty clear on our instructions for November. So I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight. As always, it's very exciting when I do these on a Sunday. I love connecting to the energy of this day in general. So thank you for your participation in this. And I'm wishing you just a magical month because that's what this is. Pay attention to all the synchronicities. And I, of course, will be seeing you guys for our December live stream. So have a beautiful night.